The students with the best grammar scores speak the worst English. That sentence sounds impossible. It is one of the most replicated findings in language acquisition science. In 2017, researchers at Georgetown University tested two groups of learners. One group could recite every rule of English grammar. The other group could barely name a verb, tense. Then both groups had a real conversation with a native speaker. The grammar experts froze. They hesitated. They produced short, broken sentences. The rule-ignorant group spoke twice as fluently. Twice. Remember that number. We will come back to it. Here is the problem nobody explains to you. You have spent years studying English the wrong way. Not because you were lazy, because the entire system pointed you at the wrong target. Schools teach grammar because grammar is easy to test. Fluency is not. So you memorized conjugation tables. You underlined rules in textbooks. You passed exams. And then a native speaker asked you a simple question. And your mind went blank. Years of study. Thousands of hours. And your mouth produced almost nothing. That failure was not your fault. It was built into the method. The method trained the wrong part of your brain. And every extra hour of grammar study made the problem worse. To understand why, we go back 24 centuries. Athens, Greece. The 4th century, BC. The most persuasive speakers in human history are being trained. The rhetoricians. Men like Demosthenes, who moved entire assemblies with his voice. Here is what should shock you. These masters of language learned almost no formal grammar. Greek grammar treatises did not even exist yet. The first real grammar of Greek appears centuries later, in Alexandria. So how did they train? Imitation, performance, repetition out loud. A student listened to his master speak. Then he reproduced the speech. Again and again, hundreds of times. The rules were never explained. They were absorbed. The body learned the language before the mind could describe it. Fluency came first. Grammar came after. The ancient Greeks understood something we forgot, and modern neuroscience just proved they were right. Here is the biological mechanism. Your brain has two completely separate memory systems. The first is declarative memory. It lives in your hippocampus and temporal lobes. It stores facts, dates, rules. This is where your grammar knowledge sits. The second is procedural memory. It lives in the basal ganglia and the cerebellum. It stores skills, riding a bicycle, typing, speaking. Real-time fluent speech is a procedural skill. It runs automatically, below consciousness, at high speed. Now here is the trap. The linguist Stephen Krashen named it in the 1980s. The monitor hypothesis. When you learn grammar consciously, your brain builds an internal editor, a monitor. Every time you try to speak, the monitor wakes up. It checks your sentence against the rules. Is this the right tense? Third person S, preposition. That checking process is not free. The 2017 Georgetown study measured it. Conscious rule retrieval adds 400 to 600 milliseconds of latency per sentence. Half a second of silence. Every sentence. Conversation moves faster than that. So while your monitor is checking, the moment passes. The other person fills the silence. And you say nothing. The cruelest part is this. The more grammar you know, the more rules the monitor must check. Your knowledge is literally the source of your silence. A 2021 University of Michigan study confirmed the pattern with brain imaging. Learners trained through explicit rules showed heavy prefrontal activation during speech. Effortful, slow. Learners trained through immersion showed activation in the basal ganglia. Automatic, fast. Same language. Two different brains. And we spent decades building the slow one on purpose. So how do you escape the grammar trap? You do not delete your grammar knowledge. You cannot. You bypass the monitor. You feed the procedural system directly. Here is the protocol. 30 days, 20 minutes a day. Step 1. Massive comprehensible input. 10 minutes daily. Choose audio slightly below your level. A podcast. A series you already know. Do not analyze it. Do not pause to check words. Just listen and follow the meaning. Krashen calls this comprehensible input. Your procedural system extracts patterns from meaning, not from rules. Expect this to feel too easy. That feeling is correct. Easy is the point. Step 2. Timed speaking sprints. 5 minutes daily. Set a timer for 60 seconds. Pick a simple topic. Your morning. Your job. Speak out loud, alone, without stopping. Here's the only rule. Errors are not allowed to stop you. If you break a rule, keep going. The sprint trains your basal ganglia to produce speech under time pressure with the monitor switched off. Expect discomfort in the first week. Your monitor will scream. You will hear your own mistakes and want to stop. Do not stop. That resistance is the monitor losing control. It fades around day 10. Step 3. Delayed correction. 5 minutes daily. After your sprints, not during, record one sprint and listen back. Notice one recurring error. Only one. Say 3 correct example sentences out loud. Then close the session. Correction after speech feeds learning. Correction during speech feeds the monitor. The order changes everything. By day 15, most learners feel the first automatic sentences. Words arriving before thought. By day 30, the Georgetown data suggests the latency gap can shrink dramatically. The fluency was in you the whole time. It was just standing behind a fact checker, twice as fluent. That was the number from the beginning. The rule-ignorant group spoke twice as fluently as the grammar experts. Not because ignorance is power, because their speech ran on the right memory system. Now a question for you. How many years did you study grammar before your first real conversation? Write the number in the comments. I read every one. And next week, we go deeper. Inside your auditory cortex, there is a filter that deletes English sounds before you can even hear them. We are going to break it. See you Tuesday.